Hi, this is Koiro with another installment in my Christmas calendar series, and this time I have to feature something IBM, I think. We have done a lot of other stuff, but the PC was IBM's design from the start, so we have to cover some more IBM until we reach Christmas. And today I was thinking maybe this. Or this. Or yeah, maybe this computer. And this is IBM Thinkpads, and they are all in a rather sorry state. And yeah, these machines I have acquired over the years. This is actually a recent purchase, and it has a bad damage up here. If this is transport or if this was originally, I'm not sure. But neither of these machines is the exact same model, but they all share something, and that is that they use this IBM power supply. So we can test every one of these machines today, and this power supply was at least working some days ago. So I will move the camera so we can get some close-up of these. Yeah, we can take one machine at a time. This one was the one that I got recently, and as you can see here, it is in a rather sad state, and this does not look good, and I do think that display could have been damaged due to this. And this machine has a nice lid on the back, and they have the expansion for the docking, they have VGA connector, they have a parallel and serial, and this is the special connector for power on these machines, and it's a 20 volt power supply. On this side you do have the on-off switch, you do have the locking mechanism for the lid, and you do have this slot, I don't remember what, but it's probably some expansion, and you have the floppy drive. And this machine looks like a floppy drive only. Some of these are both floppy and CD combined. Yeah, you have some more covers here. But let's open this and see what it looks like inside. And we have to be a bit careful because this hinge was bad. And this is the 370C model from Thinkpad. You do have the keyboard totally in front. You do have the track point mechanism, as in all Thinkpads. And otherwise, from the brake on the back of the lid, this looks in a totally good condition. And there is almost no wear at all on this keyboard. So this was one machine, and this was the 370 model. And this machine actually stated on the lid that this is a spare part computer. And this machine is a newer model. You can see that it has got a bit more clearance back on the keyboard, and this is the 760AL. So this is a newer model than the other, and also a bigger model. The keyboard is about the same on all these models, and it's IBM's beautiful ThinkPad keyboard with optimum travel for the keys. And this also has got a volume switch, as this is a built-in sound device. And this 760 was in different models, but this is the EL model. And this machine has a passive matrice screen. You can see that because it has both these knobs for regulating. And they also had this feature with the keyboard that you can make the keyboard more ergonomic, but it also was a way to keep heat out of the machine. And this machine has a swappable CD-ROM floppy mechanism. So this is actually possible to slide out. It misses the lid here, and this is memory expansion. You have here on this side, you have the PCMCA slots. And you have the mouse connection. You also have the same lid here, and you have the same expansion connector. On this machine you also have the external floppy connector interface here, and you have an infrared interface here for connecting to other things. On this side you do have some expansion. I think this is for the battery, or was it for... No, this was for the hard drive possibly. Yeah, this is for an optional modem slot, and you have the on-off switch, and you have the sound connectors there. And this machine here, I think this is the exact same model. Yes, it's this 760EL. It looks to be in a slightly better condition. This switch is broken here. Otherwise the keyboard looks just fine. And also, as it was on the other 760EL, it has this display here for status messaging and stuff. And if you do like this, I just have to experiment a bit. You can see the inwards of the machine. And here's the battery. It's a lithium battery. You have an 810 megabyte hard drive. And you have the 1.44 megabyte floppy drive that you can replace with a CD-ROM. And the CD-ROM then goes out to this side and fits in here. And this one was not very well connected. I will try to push it like so. And I don't think the other model has the same modularity to it. But then we have 3 computers. Maybe one of them will work. So we can just try them and see what we find out. Yeah, I will turn off the overhead lights to make it easier for the camera to catch anything on the screen. I have put in this connector, and there are some bad contacts here. You can see that the lights here did actually flare up, and I will try to switch this on. And this time it's about the IBM Thinkpad, and this time the specific models are the 760EL and the 370C. And we have here featured IBM's multicolor logo that follow the Thinkpad range all the way through the buyout from Lenovo. And since we featured 2 models in this video, we take them in order, and this is the Thinkpad 370C. And this is the 486DX4 model, 4 megabytes of memory, and it has a 10.4-inch octave matrix TFT LCD with VGA resolution. And it has SVGA chip with 1 megabyte of memory, so it's full multicolor, and it can display higher resolutions on an external monitor. And this model has a 340 megabyte hard drive. We have a 1.44 megabyte floppy drive in the Ultra Bay, and I'm not sure about the swapping options for this model. The machine weighs about 3 kilos, and it was launched in May 1995. And the big brother of this is the Thinkpad 760EL. It is a Pentium-based machine with one of the original Pentium 100, 120 and 133 MHz CPUs. And it has 8 megabyte of memory as standard, and this machine has a dual scan LCD. Although it's larger and SVGA, it's not of the same quality as a TFT screen. But this machine also was supplied with a 12.1 TFT screen, but that's not the model we have here. They also have a 1 megabyte Trident Cyber chip in this machine. And our machines, both of them are fitted with the 810 megabyte hard drive option. And they both have the 1.44 megabyte floppy in the thick Ultra Bay. This machine supports 2 PCMCA or card bus 2 or 1 type 3 slots natively. And this machine also has built-in sound with the ES1688 audio chip. And this machine was launched a year later than the 370C, and it's in May 1996. And this machine also weighs about 3 kilos. And this was really at the end of the DOS area, and the 760EL also come pre-configured with Windows NT. And this was also at the time when IBM had started to realize that OS/2 would not have the bright future that they once anticipated. On the 370C, it was supplied with IBM's own PC-DOS version 7. And it's DOS compatible in every way, and they also had all the DOS drivers for the PCMCA cards and so installed by default. And this machine was a ISA bus machine. It was not MCA, so it required no special drivers for anything other than the drivers that you needed to get the hardware working. But the 760EL is a microchannel architecture machine, and they did not deliver this machine with DOS as standard, but they did have a DOS image. I remember back in the day we got sent these diskettes from IBM, and we was able to install this machine with DOS 7 and Windows 3.11, as we had some customers that required this. And this machine also came with a OS/2 Warp Connect preload, in addition to the NT version we saw in the earlier ad. So this machine really was the end of the DOS area. This was one of the last computers to actually support DOS without some fixes or other stuff. When it comes to service manuals, IBM, they still rocks. It's unbelievable how good their manuals are, and even though at this time they started to supply manuals with several models covered in the same manual, they was very good, very throughout, and with part numbers and everything. But of course, no schematics. And it's all the same with the 760EL. The service manual is really superb, and they are available actually both from old IBM sites, but also from several other sources on the net. It did spin up. Okay, 8 megabytes of memory. It had the 161, 163, that's, yeah. And that is year and date, and we can just hit OK. Yes, it's starting PC-DOS, PCMCA socket services and power management, and it looks like it boots into Windows 3.11. And also had a speaker driver for sound. And this machine, it does have a TFT screen. I will actually try to zoom in on this. I think you see this quite good. And they have Tetris. Sorry, I got a bit carried away here, but I can't see a good Tetris game without trying to test it. So this did run away with me a bit. Sorry for that. Yeah, and then my camera ran out of juice, so I couldn't record the rest, so I only got a still picture of the game over. But then you were spared for the rest of the game, so please thank me for that. As we can see, this IBM also booted. This is the 760EL that was in best condition, and this is installed with Windows 98. And this machine did start up without any issues, without any messages or anything on the boot startup. So when it comes to quality, startup, and as a general test of durability, I think these machines actually score quite high, and we have to see if we can tip the victory over in IBM's end again. Sorry, but I ran out of juice on my camera, so I do have to film this with my phone, so sorry for the bad quality. Yes. And it did power off. And then it's a test on the next machine. And this is the machine that was marked as spare parts. And as we can see, it's missing the battery. The floppy drive was not in here, but the hard drive is installed. And I've connected the power. And can try to move this up against the screen and see what's happening. It's some light in the LCD. The LCD turns on. There is some weak Thinkpad message here. I can try to adjust. Okay, it's booting into Windows 98. It's doing scan disk. That's not something I've seen in a while. Yeah, it continues to boot Windows 98. And this machine also started without any messengers in the BIOS from missing power or adjusting clock or something. So that means that the internal battery for this must still be intact on these machines. And this machine, I know for a fact that they have not been started in more than 10 years. Yeah, they say that the clock is adjusted for the daylight saving time. And these machines was part of a package that local school authorities bought from a vendor that sold used machines. These machines, they actually had a lot of them. The reason I have these machines is that these was, yeah, they stopped using them after some years when they got really old, and I had the work with copying all the old data to the new ones. And then I probably just got to keep these machines as they was being thrown away. But as you can see, this is 3 strong wins in the favor of IBM and Thinkpads. So these machines in fully working order, all of them. And there might be some small hiccups with these machines, but I do think that all in all, they work just fine, even the old hard drives. Yeah, sorry for the bad quality on the end of this video, but I run out of juice on my ordinary Canon cameras. And the camera is nothing bad on the phone either, but I do have more control. And the camera also has, yeah, a nice fastening mechanism, so I can keep it still, at least I think. But that's it for this episode, where we actually featured 3 machines, and this is my 3 old school Thinkpads. I do have 2 more. I couldn't find them just now, but they are about the same as these ones. And these are rather bulky devices. They have been heavily used, and 2 7060 models has been used in a school, so we know that they have been heavily used. And I must say, I am really impressed, and I'm also kind of glad that the victory now turned in favor of IBM again after the down spiral we had with the other IBMs. So thanks for watching. We will visit IBM again in some of the last episodes in this series. So please hit like and subscribe, and I hope to see you again in my next installment in this series. So thanks for watching.